currency is, supposed to be really agnostic. You give someone hard currency, that is just it. That is the transaction. Here is money. All commerce now is electronic. Like, there's very little that I pay cash for anymore. But in that evolution, we have handed over the basic principles of like being able to undertake economic activity to private companies and people with their own interests. We've taken the simplest thing of like having a functioning market, and we've now handed a veto power over to these middlemen.
What could happen if all my eggs are in this basket? It seems like I got an easy way to carry my eggs until, maybe you don't. I think that's the other element too, like listening to what you were saying, Rob, like with the, like where they stand in the market space, whether that's like in relation to people's perception of them, how they kind of move like within their industry. But it's also like almost, it's kind of too big to fail as well. Like if I, when Target rolls back DEI, I can say I'm not going to shop at Target. And obviously there's some ways to like, where you say, oh, actually, technically this brand is, you have to really dig to totally boycott a company. And some companies are genuinely like so big, you might not even be able to fully boycott them at all. Like I think Amazon comes to mind with that. They own so many extra things. It's like, oh, I don't have a Prime subscription anymore, but I still stream on Twitch. So it's like, especially, I think in our industry, this is like, boycott final boss, because again, like you said, everything is through like these payment processors. I think the other thing to, again, don't really need to sell this idea because I know everyone listening is probably well bought in, but interesting how we have this conversation on these NSFW games and censorship and the idea of censorship and the fear of more censorship. Interesting how the anti-censorship crowd, she real quiet, and because it's never, the sort of like pro big titty game crowd, not seeing any noise really come from that. And like, why is that? And I think it's important to remember what things are about and what things aren't about. And unfortunately in this world, a lot of times what you see on its face is not really what it's about. It's like, it's about pushing a narrative. And when things fit the narrative, they're good. And when they don't, they're bad. Because if it was really about, not having censorship, you'd see all these grifters talking about this.